But yeah, usually if everyone made it through.
Dude. And speaking of making it through, we are through now onto 2000's atmosphere. LE, of course. LE? Yeah, LE, of course. We're in the top right-hand corner map, spawning all the way in the top right-hand corner. We have our red player coming out from the land. Oh,
did you see who that was?
Oh, I did not.
Looks like someone is having some latency issues.
Oh, is it me? RagnaroK's asking. It is!
Is it you?
Apparently.
What's your latency?
It's, whatchamacallit? I can't talk to them.
Yeah, what's your latency?
400.
Ooh, okay.
That's pretty normal, though. Well, no, not normal for Korea. Where was I?
Intro.
And in the top right-hand corner of the map, spawning all the way in the top right-hand corner, our red Zerg player coming out from the land of Korea, going for a pool first. He is, of course, going to be representing Alpha X, the big brain himself, RagnaroK.
And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of 2000 Atmospheres LE, we have the South Korean Terran player representing himself, as he is teamless. It is Percival. But yes, we are not the only casters that are part of this. There are the Russian casters, I believe from 3D Clan, as well as Maddox. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to catch whose name it was that was lagging out, as it did flash on the screen for a brief moment. Maybe we can get like a screen grab of that. But if it is Yaku, then of course we are more than willing to comply.
Focus.
We are more than willing to comply, because, you know, I can always just screen share and we can try and work it out that way.
We have backups. Is what we have.
Oh yeah. Meanwhile, I don't know if you noticed, but RagnaroK did open up pool first.
I did. And he's making full use of it right now. Percival not getting any scouts off over here across the map with his SCV. But at the very least, he does confirm that it's a pool first.
Oh, yes, he does. So the Marine's going to be staying at home, bearing in mind that he did skip his Reaper. He did go Marine first instead. So because of that, he was already foregoing scouting information. And because RagnaroK knows that, it wouldn't be a bad idea to abuse that a little bit. It's a hard call to make, whether or not you want to try and go into like a Roach Warren from here. Obviously, it won't be scouted, but as we can see, there's a reason why Percival skipped his Reaper and went for more Marines.
Percival doing it old school here. 2-on-1 is coming out from him, and yeah, I guess this would be one of those scenarios as well where an early Roach Warren would help out a little. Or actually, maybe not. He might not have enough. Gas or minerals early on to get enough roaches to defend.
Yeah, it's a really scary thing to do. Like, if you're going for a roach push against a 2-on-1, sure, there are no tanks, right? But there are a lot of Marines. They have stim, they have medevacs as well to support them, and if you don't have enough roaches, then can just crumble under the pressure. Speaking of, this has gone unscouted so far, and I'm curious as to how many Hellions are going to be made, because this may not just be a 2-on-1. This could be a 2-on-1 alongside something like a Hellbat push.
Well, here's the thing, like, I'm waiting for the second one to get thrown down here by Percival. He made the reactor, he made the factory. Where's the starport?
Yeah, he's delaying that a little bit here. Meanwhile, RagnaroK did decide to throw down that Roach Warren, and we'll see what he does with this. Finally, we do see the Overlord coming in for a scout. I love the angle here in between the bases. He confirms the second racks, and now he knows 100% that it is a 2-on-1.
A lot of Marines here as well, just to sort of hammer the point home for him.
Yeah, exactly. So now he's fully aware. What's interesting is that, again, he wasn't able to confirm whether or not there would even be an armory with this. Well, we don't have too many Hellions, to be fair. But he's opting not to go for a safety Baneling nest. He is opting to defend with roaches.
That's not a bad idea, especially against these Hellions. You know, Banelings, it's kind of difficult to do, but there is always an opportunity to snipe Banelings with Hellions here. I'm kind of curious as to how, or I'm kind of interested in how Percival played this out, because it is, in the end, going to be a 2-on-1 with Stim and 2 medevacs, but he delayed that. He didn't say, I'm going to put all my resources into getting 16 Marines and 2 medevacs across the map as quickly as possible. I'm gonna try to round out this army a little bit with some Hellbats.
Yeah, again, this is that much more dedicated because of the armory. So this is designed to at least kill the third base here with these Hellbats, with these Marines. I'm curious as to how the dynamic is going to work with roaches to defend. Usually you defend against this with Ling Bane, right? Banelings for the Hellions, you know, the Lings and Queens
just,
do with everything else.
Yeah. Or even just Lings, just a mass amount of Lings.
Oh, yeah.
They're gonna surround.
As long as you have Queens as well, definitely. But just pure Roach, we will see how good the micro is for RagnaroK, if he's able to keep everything alive. He is going to go for a little bit of a Ling run by, but the wall is a wall.
Yeah, his third base is going to be a little bit late, but it's not the biggest of deals right now. Hellbats do decently well against Roaches, especially Roaches that clump up like that. Nice little split right at the end there by RagnaroK, but this is what I was worried about. Like, Roaches, they got pretty good quality on them, not so much good quantity.
Exactly.
At least early on.
Yeah, we see them being focused on one after the other by these Marines. They are all going to go down. The amount of DPS that Marines have is actually absolutely insane. The Roaches go down, and even a couple of drones. In the end, though, RagnaroK barely holds on.
Yeah, pretty inefficient trade, but he kept all of his, or the majority of his drones alive. He did lose quite a number of Queens, which is worrisome. But other than that, he's held, and he's on a pretty stable 3-base economy. It's mine.
I love it, mate. Here we go. We have a scan as well. Very limited anti-air here available for RagnaroK, so even more damage being done. Oh, I can't believe that medevac barely grazed by with that Queen trying to hunt it down, but doesn't get it in the end. And yeah, I mean, RagnaroK, he survived the worst of it. You know, he lost 3 drones. He is safe and sound now. And we'll see where he goes from here. Actually going for double Evo chambers, double upgrades.
I mean, he can afford it. Got his 3 bases still mining. He's about to work on his 4th base right now. Percival, probably not even anticipating a 4th base from RagnaroK right now.
Yeah, he's a little bit more concerned with clearing out all of that creep. And I mean, this is great, especially because you pointed out that some of the Queens died earlier, so it's going to be that much harder to respread all of this creep, as now they have to be rebuilt. And I do not believe they have been, as yeah, we're only working with 5 Queens at the moment, when ideally you're at around 6, 7, maybe even 8. And all of this creep, yeah, it's gone, mate.
It's gone forever, and will not really be rebuilt. This is, I guess, another little issue with Roaches and Ravagers compared to Ling Bane. It does take a little while longer to catch these drops as they land on the map. The Lair Constitution, I think, hasn't started yet. I don't think he has a lair.
Oh, actually, okay. It looks like it has.
It did. Huh.
Yeah, it has been researched. I guess he prioritized it over everything else here, which makes sense. But despite that, still having a hard time keeping up with all these drops. Meanwhile, we saw a lot of Raxes thrown down here for Percival. Interesting style here, going for a lot of Marines, a lot of Marauders, and a handful of tanks working on this big push.
Well, that's kind of what you want against Roaches and Ravagers. Obviously, you need the backbone of any Terran army, and especially against this composition of Zerg, is going to be a siege tank line, but it is possible to overmake tanks in TVZ.
Yeah,
Make sure you have a very healthy Marauder count as well.
It's all about that buffer, mate. It's all about that buffer. We'll see how good it is going to be. Meanwhile, again, the creep has receded quite a bit here, and already is being cleaned up once again. Oh, no active creep tumors here towards the 4th base.
And the Queens are pretty low on energy. It's going to be difficult for them to... it's going to take a while for them to get back to spreading that creep around.
Yeah, exactly. Meanwhile, the creep is slowly spreading on the right-hand side. RagnaroK is trying to sneak out of 4th base. I love this as well. He isn't neglecting his Ling Bane. He is going Ling Bane Roach Ravager in the end. Again, the goal of the Ravagers here are to bile down the tanks and Ling Bane to deal with everything else.
Pretty much, yeah. Gotta have your counters. Speaking of counters, though, Percival is about to finish up +1, and he's starting to move the rest of the army towards this position right now. Clearing up this creep, and RagnaroK has full eyes on it. He's in a bit of a position to go for a surround, but his army is still very much far away. He needs to buy some time.
Yeah, he needs to consolidate his army. Meanwhile, we're pushing out with 4 tanks here. I'm a little bit concerned because 2 of them are stacked up right next to each other, so they are primed to get biled down. Meanwhile, RagnaroK, he's going for the surround.
And he has more than enough Ling Bane, but he's still going to be fighting off of creep. Nice split coming down here from Percival. Able to keep the vast majority of his Marines alive, but his Marauders go down, his tanks go down. And RagnaroK, once again, is going to be able to hold for now.
Yeah, but you know what? Percival actually drops the rest of his army. He wants to keep on going. There was a moment there where he could have tried to pick everything up and go back home, but no, he wants to stay. He's rallying all of his reinforcements across the map. His first wave, all of his tanks have been reset, but he still has a lot of Marines and a lot of Marauders.
Doing such a good job of sniping these Banelings as well. But it only takes 1. He needs to be so careful. No connections will land right now for RagnaroK. And Percival continuing to keep up in the army supplies, continuing to push on forward more and more, dodging the biles as best he can.
Yeah, he even gets on top of some of these Ravagers, but only some in the end. It looks like there just isn't enough bio on the ground. Banelings have been morphed in. RagnaroK is holding, and Percival was so committed with this push.
So committed, but in the end, it got no economic damage. He traded very efficiently, but there's much more where that came from RagnaroK. RagnaroK can't afford these losses 3 times over, pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, his 4th base is up and running, his 5th base as well. He hasn't taken his gases, but he doesn't need to. He's still on Ling Bane. He's not taking up into, mutas or hydras or lurkers. Only a couple of vipers as well to support the army. So a very cost-efficient army coming out from RagnaroK. He doesn't have a lot of creep, but what he lacks in creep, he makes up for in numbers.
Like so.
Exactly. Once again, Percival has returned only a single tank as the backbone of this army. I don't know if that's going to be enough, Yaku.
Well, it's especially not enough when it gets blinding clouded like that. Everything is meeting the rest of the army of Percival right now. Thankfully, he has plenty of medevacs, and there's not that much anti-air. So he's able to pick up and evacuate. He really needs to regroup, though. He really needs to take stock of his economy as well as his army at the moment.
Exactly, mate. And to be fair, he is taking a 4th base, but RagnaroK, he has been able to get away with all these dronings. He's maxed out. He's working towards ultras as well. 3-3 on the way, but he may not even need it, mate.
Oh yeah, it's definitely a possibility for him to end the game right now. 3-3. Okay, it's still on the way for RagnaroK, but on the plus side, Percival is still on 2-2. His bio army starting to go down. This 4th base is not going to be mining at all. Yeah. At all.
And GG gets called. RagnaroK takes game number 1.
Very nicely done here. Looked very shaky a number of times here, actually. Percival coming in with some very, very powerful timings and pushes. But in the end, RagnaroK, it felt like he held with the bare minimum he needed to each and every time. But the important thing is he never took any economic damage. So he could keep affording to... So he could continue to afford to lose all of those. He could continue to afford to, keep defending over and over and over again.
Yeah, he really could. Like, there was a timing there where maybe Percival could break him, but that time came and went, and RagnaroK was able to eventually overwhelm Percival there again. I always appreciate, like, these aggressive styles from Terran players. Bjorn kind of does this a lot as well. But unfortunately, you have to be able to do some economic damage, whether it's drone kills or killing hatcheries, something more than just creep and trading.
Yeah. It's almost like the defensive units are the shields of the Zerg. If you don't deal economic damage or hull damage, then, well, they're just going to regen. As we continue our series now on to Leningrad, LE Of course, in the top left-hand corner map, starting all the way in the top left-hand corner, he is the biggest braid Zerg player who is currently out there, going to be representing Alpha X. We have the YouTube phenomenon sensation, RagnaroK.
And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Berlingrad LE, we have the South Korean Terran player himself, currently teamless, but fighting his heart out. It is Percival. Oh my god.
Once again, going for that pool first. Makes a bit more sense on a map like Berlingrad, but on the flip side, it's probably going to be something that Percival is going to be a bit more prepared for after game 1.
Yeah, so what's important here is that this isn't a pool first from RagnaroK. It's actually a gas first, gas pool opener here. So because of this, I imagine we're going to be going for a fast Roach Warren. We're going to have a lot of gas to work with. The other option would be like a Bane bus, but
I was going to say, I was going to say, if you're going to predict Roach Warren, then I'll predict Bane bus.
Fair enough.
And we'll see what he goes for.
Fair enough, fair enough. I know RagnaroK, especially on this map, has been fond of Roach pushes. And from here, he has kind of different ways to try and adapt or pivot away from it. But for the time being, only gets 100 gas and pulls out.
Well, not entirely. They're still, slowly but surely getting that gas count up and running. Percival actually gonna be mining this out. Oh lord, this is gonna come back to bite a minute.
Yeah, so this is gonna be helping out RagnaroK a little bit here. So the links have been revealed, so Percival knows it's at least a pool first. But unfortunately for him, he doesn't know about that gas, which means we are seeing a Ling flood. Here we go. Lings are being banked up here back at home. This is going to be a very strong timing with Ling speed. You don't see this often in this matchup because walls are usually walls.
Yeah, unless you can bust them down with either Banelings or Corrosive Biles. But for now, RagnaroK is neither.
Exactly. We have 50 gas, so we can see a Baneling nest here, but no, RagnaroK, he's just going to pull the trigger. There is no nest. There is no way to bow down that or bust through that wall.
Huh. And now we're getting Hellions out from Percival?
Yeah. He's one basing.
This is not going to be a difficult defense for our blue Terran player, is it?
Yeah, because he didn't make a CC. He's going 1-1-1 off of one base. He's going for Wood Mine drop in an armory.
Ha!
Oh
There's
my.
so much potential to work right now for Percival. Hellions doing as much as they can as well, really shaving off that link count by a little bit. RagnaroK dips on up and sees, yep, that's a wall. I'm just gonna dip out.
And I'm really curious to see how this is going to work out here. So looking at the vision of RagnaroK, he confirms it's a one base all in. Because he saw the factory, he saw that there was no natural base. He's going to dip in with his Overlord to try and see what is going on. And it looks like there's not enough anti-air. He is going to see. Yeah, he's going to see the armory.
Yeah. And even if he did see the army, well, this is quite a bit of a tell here right now for RagnaroK. RagnaroK playing ultra defensive right now, throwing down spine crawlers wherever he can. But what he needs is spore crawlers.
Yeah, and there we go. Spores are being thrown down as well. Now he knows 100% what is going on, and unfortunately, this drop could have done so much more if it remained hidden, if it was not scouted.
Just needed one Marine. That's all it takes.
Exactly. Here we go. We see the boost into the main base. Lings are here ready and waiting, but he doesn't care. He just goes straight into the mineral line.
Drops all of his mines, actually, right on top of the Spore Crawler. Is able to take out a couple of drones, but mostly those were the mines connected with Lings. And I say mostly with Lings. It's actually 4 Lings going down here.
Wow.
4 Widow mines.
A very beautiful response here by RagnaroK. Again, that scout was crucial in the defense. Because of that, he had detection available to him. If he didn't see that, he would have just died. There would have been 0 mining here in the main base, and there is no third either. So RagnaroK would have been on one base economy. Alas, that is not this world. And Percival, he's doubling down here. He keeps on trying to make use of this tech. He's going into a Banshee.
Yeah, which is difficult to maneuver around when there are Spore Crawlers, but of course, double Banshees or 2 Banshees will one-shot drones. It's a little bit more micro potential there for Percival. He really needs to do whatever he can to slow down the economy of RagnaroK, however. His own natural base just now landing. He is so far behind as RagnaroK is about to finish up his third.
You're not wrong, mate. We'll see how this goes. I mean, what I will say is that Percival can still make use of that armory because he has a lot of Hellions, so he can go for like maybe a 2-base Hellbat push as a kind of follow-up. But even then, like, there's just not many Marines because of the awkward opener. Like, he now has 3 Raxes producing, so I imagine that's what he's going to try and go for. RagnaroK, on the other hand, going for a very quick Spire.
And that's one way to shut down a Banshee follow-up. It's not going to be much anti-air on the ground here for the Terran players, since they did invest in high-tech air units instead of Marines or anything like that.
Yeah, this needs to deal damage. Again, we have Hellions, could be Hellbats as well, morphed into the mineral line. We have a couple of Banshees headed towards the main base as well. Hellions are trying to find a way in, and with only one queen, maybe they can get into the mineral line, but the rest of the queens aren't too far away.
Yeah, we are on Leningrad. The bases are very, very close together. Even an Overseer already here to chase away the Banshees. Things are going from bad to worse for Percival, as even his Hellions get surrounded and actually not taken out yet. Only some of them.
Yeah, the Hellion count was shaved down. We're not going to be seeing any more Hellions made this game anyway, but I'm sure Percival wanted to keep them alive a little bit longer. At the same time, the Banshees do dip in, 2 more drones go down. At least it's something, you know, it is some damage here, but we'll see if they can get a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, that's enough, right? He's got mules. They can sort of mitigate that deficit. He scouts Aspire now. But we already do have a couple of Mutalisks out on the map. They're chasing the Banshees instead of going immediately across to Percival's side. So this does give Percival quite a bit of time that he's utilizing to push with his Bioforce.
Here we go. This is going to hit with Stim and maybe Combat Shields. +1 is still a long way away, but maybe the fight is going to be able to be long enough for that to eventually kick in. Here we go. He's pushing on 3. Oh my god, he has to be so careful.
He's fighting a little bit on creep, and a couple of decent connections may just be all RagnaroK needs. Terrain count has effectively been cut in half, but the tank is coming in to support the rest of that army. The Banelings, no, RagnaroK. You can't throw them away needlessly like that.
Yeah, not like this, puppy, not like this. In the end, though, looks like Percival is going to unsiege. He's going to back off. He's going to respect the army of RagnaroK. It makes plenty of sense. He doesn't want to just throw away the game. But like, the problem is that he doesn't even have a 3rd CC. He's building it now.
On location, and the Mutalisks, okay, not going to be able to really have any say about that matter. At least not yet.
Oh boy, I mean, we do have a couple of Thors coming out. Like, overall, I do really like the kind of unit composition of Percival. It's just, unfortunately, his economy is what's hurting right now. And, I mean, to be fair, it is his fault. Like, he did open things up 1 base. He stayed on 1 base for a long time. It's just unfortunate that he wasn't able to keep his initial plan hidden.
Yeah. RagnaroK, all he needs is information. And once he has that, he, can pretty much figure out a path to victory from any scenario. He's even getting the infestation pit now because there's nothing to really threaten him.
Yeah.
He's so greedy.
So incredibly greedy, mate. Meanwhile, Percival, I mean, he's doing what he can to be active here on the map. You know, he's got a force here to clear up some creep. He's got a couple of Liberators coming out, but the Liberators get intercepted. They're going to be shut down by these mutants before dealing too much damage. The drop as well doesn't get too far onto creep either. They'll shave off a couple of lings, but F's in the chat for the libs. F's in the chat.
They have no more freedom, as they do no longer have any life. Yeah. Can't really roam across the map anymore. Hive, about a quarter way down for RagnaroK, and Percival, he's still struggling with his +1 upgrades.
I didn't want to believe it, Yaku, but you're not wrong. He's working on +1 armor right now. Not like this. He's going to be so far behind in those upgrades. He is surviving against the Mutaharass, but we do have a scan here. He does see that the Hive is on the way. He has to come up with a plan. He knows he's soon about to be out-teched like crazy. But unlike Protoss, you don't really see boys being pulled in this matchup.
Yeah, you pull the boys and they just connect with one Baneling and that's it. You can't really soak up that much damage.
Yeah, the Banelings do hard counter the SCVs, so fully boys just isn't a thing in this matchup. We'll see what he can get done. He does have a couple of Thors, he does have a lot of medevacs. You know, maybe there's a world where he can get the most miracle Thor connections and kill all the mutants in the skies, but oh no! What about the ground, Yaku? What about the ground?
Oh, he's definitely losing some ground in the land battles here. Once again, just sort of thrown across to his side of the map, and you mentioned that this is a very different matchup than TVP, and it is in another way. You can't really turtle up and hope to be able to get enough for a counterattack later on in a TVC like you can in TVP.
Ooh.
That's a great connection, though.
True. That Widowmine shot has 18 kills. Oh my god. That is finally a good start. That's the best thing that's happened to Percival this entire game. We'll see if he can get maybe a couple more lucky Widowmine shots. Up.
Yeah, Widowmine will take out a couple of the Banelings.
Yeah.
And there's still plenty on the ground here, but like you said, Light, it's a start. RagnaroK is fighting very, very far off of creep, but he does bust on through, though, and he's trying to connect with all of these natural.
No,
He does!
Ah, turns around at the wrong moment. 12 SCVs go down. RagnaroK with actually double the worker count right now of his opponents.
This is absolutely terrifying, and he's not even just ahead in the worker count. He's in the army count. He has enough supply to spare here. Just to be as annoying as possible. Not if these Widowmines have anything to say about it, though.
Yeah, 15 link kills on that one Widowmine. So again, the mines have been keeping Percival in this game. Another Widowmine shot. Oh, this one though. Made it.
Doesn't connect him much.
Exactly. RagnaroK is still having a hard time breaking on through, and a lot of this is because he's still stuck with Ling Bane. Even though he has a Hive, I'm surprised that he hasn't started Ultras yet. The Ultra Cavern is done, Kindness Plating is on the way, but he's still just making nothing but Ling Bane.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't have a lot of gas income is kind of the issue right now, and I guess it's not that much of an issue, though, because he can just Ling Bane Percival into submission. GG. RagnaroK takes that series 2-0. We'll be moving on to face Armani in a bit of a ZvZ, and I believe it's one of the qualifying matches that we have here today.
Oh, nicely done. GG, well played. RagnaroK does take that series in the end. And even though, again, we didn't start with any Zergs, we are going to be moving on into that best of 5 ZvZ.
I'm loving how it transitions like this. Like, we go from PvPs to a PvT to a TvZ, and now back into ZvZ.
It's good to be home. It's good to be. Yeah. And you could argue that PvP is our home because we do so much.
It is our home. Well, just like our home, though. It's just like our home, though. It's you know,
an abusive household.
You need a yeah. You need to get out.
Not like this. Not like this. Well. We have our series lined up for us. Meanwhile, if you want to check out some of the other games that are going on, I believe Wardy was covering Sue versus Chance, currently covering Sue versus Ryung, and Rotterdam was following his boy Nightmare in his run.